Welcome to the Hypnosis NGH podcast. This podcast series offers a fun and serious look at hypnosis and offers various ideas, discuss case studies, along with NGH educational opportunities. Hello and welcome to the Hypnosis NGH podcast. I'm Eric Damon with the National Guild of Hypnotists. We are excited to present our mini Meet the Presenters podcasts featuring individual presenters at this year's NGH convention, August 9th, 10th, and 11th. Please welcome board certified hypnotist, certified instructor, Order of Braid recipient, author and musician, Michael Hathaway. So you've got the 1 hour seminar, which is called Hypnosis and the Law of Attraction.
Yes. Yep. And so that one is designed on looking at a little bit of the history, but also setting your intentions. And intentions in hypnosis are a major big thing these days. What I call it the post-COVID effect. In other words, the whole world has gone through a shift from the stress from this. So it's changed the thinking process. It's almost like a near-death experience or a concussion where no one is thinking exactly the same as they were before, only people don't understand it. And so consequently, half the world is mad and the other half is looking to follow their heart's passion. And that's where we get a lot of people now that are coming in that want to find that purpose in life.
So people who attend your seminar, what are they going to leave your seminar with?
Okay, well, the goal of this seminar is to have them put together the concept of how they can use their mind and also help their clients identify and then look at the language and the positivity of the law of attraction. The whole thing comes back to the concept is that you send out an energy that is actually bringing you back to what you're sending out. And a lot of people they'll say, well, geez, I'd like to do this, but. So they've canceled it. Or they'll say, well, that won't work. So the idea is to put that positive mindset together and then create with your heart base. When your heart sends out the energy of gratitude for what you're doing, then that itself is magnifying it by over 60 times. So a lot of this whole concept is based on that, sending out. And it starts back with, of course, you're familiar with Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, and all of that sense of where it's been in the process for over 100 years, but now it's being redefined. Help the hypnotist define for themselves what it is that they would like to have happen, the manifesting. And then from there, how they can also use that knowledge using neurolinguistic concepts of how a person thinks. And that's where I'm big into, is the fact that no one has the same mind. Everybody thinks differently. So what I call mental DNA is, let's find out, okay, do you visualize, do you hear in your mind? What is it that you have for strength so that when you build your imagery or hypnotic imagery or imagine or whatever it is, meditate, that it's in the strongest way possible for yourself?
Right.
Where I'm non-visual and actually lacking 4.5 of the 5 senses in recall in my mind, I learned early on that I didn't think the way other people did. And I spent most of my time trying to fool them until I studied NLP. And once I really became familiar with that, I'm going, oh, okay, now let me give myself permission to think the way I think. So the goal is to walk out of that 1 hour class with the idea that you have this way of defining clearly to yourself what it is that you would like to do or intend or attract, and also how you can help clients to do the same thing.
Perfect. And you've done this class in the past.
I've done this class in the past, and it's usually received pretty well. Both of these I've done. The hypnosis and the second one, which is Soul Purpose Workshop, basically leads into that. That's a 2 hour seminar where we really look at then digging into that purpose. Now, this comes into the point of belief systems, the sense of what you're feeling, so that you can bring in those unknowns. In other words, there's a lot of metaphysical aspects to it. But again, a lot of people are very interested in that so that they can then really feel that what they're doing on their adventure, they're not alone. And a lot of people feel like they're alone. And a belief system, I don't tell people what to believe. It could be as Lisa Halpin would say, a pink cloud, or it could be a whatever, but it's the sense of believing in positivity and heart-based belief. So we look at that, and then putting that together is to the purpose, meaning it follows along with the manifestation that people are looking for something that's their purpose. So we define that so that they can give themselves the opportunity then to put that in place as far as thinking about it, feeling it, trusting, knowing that they're not alone in the purpose, that they're being guided to it. We also look at resistances. Resistances lots of times are working for us rather than against us. We don't see it at the time because it's a pain and we can push through it. But if we get our ego out of the way and allow ourselves to just plain step into that positive feeling and go forward with it. And a lot of my clients are looking for that purpose.
Right. And do you find that in your courses, your seminar and your workshop that you're doing, with all of these, do you find that new hypnotists to seasoned hypnotists benefit from attending?
Yeah, the idea is that it might, and my philosophy is, if there's one little thing I learned that can help me in my life and in my practice, then that's worth attending it. So therefore, there might be some hypnotists that are experienced that would like to come back as a little primer, just to remind them of something. And at the same time, a new hypnotist starting out, it depends on how much they know about neurolinguistics, which is a whole other thing in itself. But you can break that down simply into it so they can understand the basic principles of what I call mind model building. And
there's definitely a benefit from, at any level coming in.
At any level is an interest. And what I found when I do the full day course, I break it down into the old, what I call the old-fashioned way, the traditional way that we've done past lives always. And then I look at really the hypnotist's intuition. That's a big factor, how they know what they know. So we spend some time helping them identify, if they don't already know, how they're intuitive. And a lot of people just are naturally intuitive. They just dismiss it. They don't pay attention to it. And so then we look at a group regression, how to do group regressions. And finally, what I use, and this is based on really Roger Wolge's work, I call it conversational past lives. In other words, in most of my hypnosis, I don't go, you're getting deeper and going to sleep, because that's a challenge. And so a person may be naturally resistant to it. So we talk about imagination. Now, where does imagination come from? That's a good question. How do we know what we know? So that if we allow ourselves to let our mind create the images for us in the way that we think, then that is amazing. And I've had some very seasoned hypnotists attend the class, and they have not considered that way of doing it. And they found amazing things happening. We try to break it down so that there's a lot of hands-on experience in the full day course, so that they get to pair off and work with each other and see how it works. I'll demonstrate it too, so they get an idea. But the idea of past lives, whether it's true or not, it's putting together in your mind could be like a psychological drama that you can find a resolution for. And what I talk about is big picture, little picture. So the idea is, like, if it's a past life where there was a trauma in it, we go back before the trauma to a happy time, and then we sneak up on the trauma so that the person can get a concept of what the last thoughts in that lifetime were in that story. And then we go back to the happy time and we create a bridge so that the person can take, it could be a kid that or whatever. They can bring that element of their soul to them where they are now, so that they can look at the thoughts they're having in this life as to how it compared to the experience in the past life, so that they can resolve that, so they can say, wait a minute, I'm not there anymore.
Right.
And amazing experiences are just amazing. That, it's really, to me, it's exciting. My goal is to share the experiences I've had over the last 30 years that people might benefit from, that they can take to the next level. Because I figure that everyone in the class may know a heck of a lot more than I do. I'm just giving them permission to really get out there and allow themselves to take that risk of succeeding.
I think you've got a lot of knowledge in that head of yours.
Well, I don't know whether it's still there or not. It bounces back and forth, It's like the words of the, a book title that'll come and go. But I just allow that to happen. So
now the post course, which is a full 1-day course.
Full that 1-day course, yeah,
so
on Monday.
On
so
Monday.
I hope people will stick around. I mean, really, it's great. We've had some good turnouts in the past, and hopefully this combination of new and old visitors this year that would like to be a part of it. So,
and the title again?
The title of that one I got to look at is it's Past Life Regression: Enhance Your Hypnosis Practice, so that you can help others. In other words, there are people that, and back 30 years ago when I took the certification course, Dick Hart said, don't recommend doing past life regressions. So, the whole thing it's funny. We went through that non-metaphysical stage, and now we're back into the belief system stage, which is really exciting for me.
Well, it's amazing how things change or come back around, as it were. So,
well, the other thing is that things have changed so much that it's like the old-fashioned inductions, that might take 10 minutes. People don't have 10 minutes worth of focus anymore. So a lot of it is the catch, and I'll start this conversation things. I'll say, well, can you imagine? And then we'll go through a series of what actually are deepening ways of getting a person further into their own trance by experiential. Like, do you have a favorite smell? And can you imagine that smell? And if that smell is relaxing, how does it feel if you take a nice breath and breathe up from the sky and down from the sky and up from the ground? And can you feel it and experience it? And see, people go right off into a trance. I watch their eyes drop, and sometimes when we get done one of these things, a private session, they can't remember the discussion we had while I was doing it. It's like a lucid dream. In other words, the goal is to step you into the dream so that you're experiencing it while it's going, but at the same time, then I can move them in and out. So we don't want any discomfort, to the point of so it's nice and comfortable. So I'm watching them very carefully to make sure that things are going good.
Now that's amazing. You definitely have to make adjustments to the way the world as it is, right?
Well, it's the constant adjustment, yeah. And so therefore, the client themselves or yourself can kind of give you that information. I look for the clues that they don't know they're telling me. I observe the physiology, the words they're saying. Does that word fit? Is it out of character? As one person said to me one time, they felt wounded by somebody else's words. Oh, so how do they know what a wound is? So that becomes the mystery going then. Say, okay, well, so put a picture together in your mind of what you imagine that wound looks like. And all of a sudden, we develop the whole story and follow the story through and resolve it.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's great observation. I mean, obviously, you have to do that in order to be helpful to people. So,
well, you don't have to, but I mean, it's what people know. And if they sat there and follow, okay, this is the exact way to do it, even when I'm teaching students, there's no exact perfect way to do it.
Exactly.
So they may take a different path, and I'm going, well, what's it? But if it works, good, use it.
But you're right. All these nuances, these different things that people do, it doesn't fit everybody. But if you
Yeah.
are aware of it and you as a hypnotist know all of these ways of watching your client and can
Yeah.
help them, that's what you need to do.
It's like there's a point where trance is if you confuse somebody. See, if the conscious mind is too active, if you confuse them, then you can slip something in subliminally, which is the whole concept of the NLP, subliminal communication. So when I do my daily podcast, which I've done almost 6,000, I do it, they last for less than a minute, 2 minutes, basically. So it's a picture, a title, and then it's talking about nature, and the nature slides off into personal life. Tomorrow it's called I Can Feel the Push. And that's what we were talking about earlier, is the fact of the feeling that push up. But now I can also feel the spiritual push of what it is that I need to be doing, as my heart is telling me in the spring, for moving along on the next step of my soul's path.
Right.
So
now, you do 1 minute podcast?
It's a 1 minute and a half. It's called Message from the Mountain. And as I say, it comes with a picture. So I go out in nature and look for a picture that will fit. And then the podcast, I have a concept, but when I turn on, see, my goal is to channel the information so that when I start like this, I have no idea what I'm going to say next. I just open my mouth and trust it's the right word. So I take that time ahead of time communicating with what I call the cosmos. And so I communicate with that call so that I know that my intention is to let the right words come through at the right time.
Now, let me ask you, you're a seasoned veteran of going to the annual convention.
I've been there for over 30 years. I think I started in 91.
And I mean, I've seen you the last few years because I haven't been there for everything, but
Yeah.
You definitely, I see it as more of a, and I've used the term before, a melting pot of different ideas and people getting together. And what's your take on what you see and what attracts you to be there for the last 30 years?
Well, and I don't necessarily, my goal is connections. In other words, to talk to people, because I learn a lot from people that meet in the hall or different things and pick up. I've been fortunate enough to do several books over the course of my time since I've been there, from the Idiot's Guide series to the Everything series. And so those are good. And then as a musician, I've done some recording, some stuff that we put out. So it's a combination of different things.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I've noticed with the convention is that there's folks who come every year and who don't want to miss it, because not just the learning part of what goes on, or the, like you said, reinforcing what they may already know, but it's being able to interact with other hypnotists. And
particularly I've got my old friends, but I love meeting new people. And I always remember when I finished that train-the-trainer course. At the time, they had to split into two courses. That's how far. I think it was the second time that they did the advanced course, which is all combined together now. And I remember when the convention was there, the first guy that come to congratulate me was Larry Garrett. And I always remember that. And so I really enjoy Larry, and it's really great. The joy of going to the convention. Yeah, that's really the neat part, is having the conversations, and and I hope that they have a wonderful, it's time to rediscover life again. And, we're coming out from under the covers of the COVID situations and the dramas, and now it's time to rediscover it again for the first time.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's definitely one of those things that there's a lot of excitement when the convention happens. And again, the classes are extremely important for folks.
Yes.
But it doesn't stop there. And I think that's what makes it such an attraction for people to want to come every year.
It's the renewal. It's the veterans, which we're very fortunate to have a lot of veterans in the guild. that connect with the young people. And so it's that young generation that has the answers. They're the ones that we're depending on to really take it to the next level. They're born, the young generation now is born, we're analog. They're wired differently. So they're all digital. So we're trying to catch up with the digital age, converting the analog over.
Even me, I'm a little slow at this stuff.
Well, you're doing, it's great. I've enjoyed, what you're doing the last year or so has been really incredible. That's really appreciated very much, Eric.
Oh, no, I think, the whole concept is just to move us into where we need to be to make sure that the members are getting as much content and benefits as they can. And that's really what we're brainstorming every day is what can we do for the members to.
And I have to tell you that I'm very fortunate that I've got the McGill Chair along with the light, which was amazing. But anyways, that came from the vote of the year that I did the Law of Attraction. So that was really what voted it, was the people that came to it. It wasn't my speech. It was the fact that the people felt so good about it that it carried over the next year.
It's great.
So when I got the chair, I just said it at the time we had a table. So I just said it there, said at the booth saying, you want to sit in this? You guys are all a part of it. So enjoy and celebrate.
Oh, that's cool. That's nice.
Well, that's true. Eric, thank you.
I appreciate you taking the time, and we will definitely see you at the convention.
Well, thank you very much. We'll see you.
Thank you for listening to the Hypnosis NGH podcast. You're welcome to share your ideas for future podcasts by emailing us, nghpodcast@ngh.net.